Something that I think you guys could educate me about a little bit more. I mean, I feel like we have to give the floor to Osei.
For sure.
Mr. Tariff himself, man.
Man, come on. Now.
I guess this is a serious topic. This is a real problem in America.
Oh, yeah. But it's not serious enough that we have to talk about it seriously.
You know?
There's plenty of political platforms out there if you want to get hard-hitting facts about these tariffs. But I think we can talk about its effect on culture.
Yeah, shit is expensive now. And Osei called all of us thinking that... Osei gets on stream and calls all of his friends thinking that niggas didn't know what a tariff is, like we didn't go to high school. But yeah, I think shit is just about to get more expensive because Trump is imposing tariffs on other countries.
Yeah, how did those calls go, bro? Did everyone know what a tariff was?
Honestly, everybody I called, except for one person, called me back or picked up the phone, and most people knew what a tariff was, to be honest, and by the definition too.
Nice.
So shout out to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I personally thought it was a funny question because I was like, do I even really know what a tariff is? You know what I mean? Like, but I also think it's a popular topic of conversation, so that was part of it too. It's like because some people were spitting out textbook definitions. I was like, did you just Google this?
I mean, I think it would have been funnier to also ask like a bunch, because I think it is an interesting thought exercise to ask young people in their 20s, do you know what tariffs are being imposed on what country? Like, do you actually know what's going on about this? Or do you just know that there's tariffs and everyone's posting about this is why I can't go out this weekend because tariffs are mad high, bro? Because I think our generation does love to make everything a joke.
Yeah.
And it might be starting to become a little problematic because, again, I think I'm the representation of it to where it's like, I don't care.
Our generation is not about that action.
At all.
We love to talk and joke and post infographics.
Yes.
We are not about that action. There were massive protests all over the country this past weekend on the way the administration is handling things, on everything from...
I seen it.
Yeah.
I drove past a couple.
Yeah. And there were big ones in DC and in New York. And I follow some people that went. And the sentiment that I saw from all of those was, wow, there were no young people here. Old people from other generations were coming up to the people that I follow and thanking them for representing their generation because there were no young people. Yeah. The people that loved to scream about it online, none of them were out in the streets.
Yeah, that's why I'm never going to fake, bro. Again, not to say I am wrong. Miles bad. Don't think like me at all, but it's like I will never front.
But like real life, are we cooked because of that? Like, is the government just going to do whatever they want because we don't have real advocates of change in our generation?
I obviously not now, but I want to fact check that because I do know for a fact that old people love saying that young people don't do shit or that they were more hard body than this new generation. I feel like that's a thing.
You said you want to fact check it, or you think that that's not true?
I want to fact check like were there young people out or not? Like is Gen Z like represented in these protests?
But my sources weren't the old people. They were the few Gen Z people that went. They said, "Yo, where were you guys?"
And like,
we were like the only young people.
Do you know any of your people that was outside?
But okay, so what were they protesting? They were protesting the tariffs.
That was but also just the entire administration.
Everything
that's
happening.
I agree with you. I feel like there's more nuance to it than just that, but I agree with you for the most part.
I think that a lot of people take the mindset that I have where it's like, bro, I have bigger fish to fry. Like, I'm so sorry. There's just other things on my mind right now that are like, not even to say to be on some bullshit, but it's like, I just have other things that I'm thinking about besides the government. And that's selfish to say because I think that you do have to think about the disenfranchised people, the people that don't have a voice. And I think it is very selfish to take your freedom, take your voice, take your ability to say something and not.
Yeah.
And
that's why
I'm selfish.
Let me just impose a little viewpoint here. That's why maybe if it was a little easier to survive and exist in our country, and maybe if there was just a touch less motivation to become a billionaire, there'd be more time for us to care about civic duties and about the wealth of our nation as a whole instead of our individual position. You know what I'm saying?
Can I say something that's wrong?
Yeah.
Even if we did care.
Yeah.
Even if we did pop out, I just feel like how I've always interacted with the government, what I've seen about the government, what I've been told by a lot of people, even from an older generation, is that these systems in place are fucked. What America was built on. We were talking about a shaky foundation. Like, my dad is super, super like into politics and that,
Yeah.
and is always really upset. And he's always preaching mentality of like, you guys are kind of fucked. Like, the shit that's going bad is already bad. Like, we are so far gone. Like, it's gonna really take an insane act or a revolution or something big to really create actual change. So it's like the only way that I could actually be an agent of change or actually contribute to this would be making an insane amount of money to where I actually become a player in this. But without that money, without that influence, without that platform, is my individual thoughts and me speaking out and going to this protest really going to enact any change?
I mean, I think there's strength in numbers, and I do think, yeah, I think protests are moderately effective. It's not going to make huge change, but I think if we all, because if the three of us chose to go to these protests, I'm sure that's not just an increase in 3 people. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a shift in the way we're thinking. Because if we're driven to go to these protests, I'm sure most of our friends were too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then you see an entire percentage change of the people that are showing out. If we participated in certain boycotts, that's a way to actually change things. You know what I mean?
But mad people are participating in boycotts.
But we're not.
Yeah.
Why aren't we? Those people aren't enough. Those people are the smaller percent that are like activists.
Yeah.
Where are the normal people? Us.
Yeah.
We're inactive.
Yeah, no.
Oof, I'm trying to organize my thoughts on this. It's kind of a lot. One thing I want to say first, I just find this all to be very interesting because I do feel like history in general, but U.S. history is very cyclical. We're always just doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, weren't tariffs a thing in the 1920s? Isn't that what led to the Great Depression?
Well, I was thinking like, isn't that like the Boston Tea Party?
What? No,
Weren't
bro.
they? No. I'm saying back then. Weren't they mad about the cost of shit? And wasn't it really
I see what
expensive?
you're
Like wasn't there like a crazy import?
Yeah,
tax
there
or
was a
something
tea
like that?
tax. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, I was in history class. man.
Okay,
Don't
no,
do all that.
my fault. You jump back another like few hundred years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happened, and then what? World War II happened like a decade or two after that, like late 1930s, early 1940s. Like, aren't we just doing the same? Isn't the U.S. just becoming nationalist again, like we were like 100 years ago?
Yeah. I think since World War II was concluded, the entire world has moved to a place of globalization, where slowly tariffs across the entire globe have started to diminish. They started high. We were at like 40% across the board, all countries, and we've worked down to single digits, not just in America, but all across the country, because we realized free trade, free flowing imports and exports was good for productivity of all. You know, and so this does seem like a reset. It's the biggest shakeup in the global economy in our lifetime and the lifetime of our parents.
I feel like ever since really like the early 2000s, like 9/11, it's like the U.S. has become more xenophobic. That's like afraid of like the outside.
Yeah.
And has slowly been moving toward a more conservative, more nationalist country. This is just like the peak of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. When I saw the tariffs, I was like, bro, this feels like the 1920s. Like, this is like mad funny. But another thing, because I want to go back to your point about like young people coming out. I think that one thing that I've been thinking about lately is like what my responsibility is in all this, right? Because I think you're right. I don't know if I can speak for everybody. I never like to speak for the whole generation because I do feel like that's like an older person thing to do to younger people. But I think about myself and I'm like, I'm not outside when it comes to activism, when it comes to protests. And it is something that I do think about and I do try and stay up on in terms of what's going on in the world. I've done less so here, but like in the past, I've like tried to be like that. I think that at some point, as somebody that likes to like build community and meet people and gather people, I do think that under the right cause, I do have a responsibility to myself at least step outside and do some volunteer work or participate in a protest or at least push everything the way I want it to be, right? Because you can't sit here and be like, oh, I like to build community when you're not actively helping the people in your community. Like, what is it all for? Is it all to just get fucked up on the weekend? You know what I mean? Like, I do think that, to your point, right, you talk about making a whole bunch of money and being able to like affect change that way. I think that you can affect change that way, but also you can affect change now in smaller ways by being an active part of the people that are trying to make a difference already.
100%.
And we have no community leaders. You know, that's really a big thing. Like, And I think that's strategic, especially in the Black community. Like, bro, I mean, they killed Malcolm X and they killed MLK. You feel me? It's just like there's no new version of that.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? And it's by design.
So rock with me. Let's not just talk about it. I think that's a really good point, and I think Stereo Vision as a platform could do something like that. I think we could spend 4 hours a month volunteering together and inviting people to listen to this podcast to volunteer to the same cause.
I would only do it if it's something that I feel like makes sense for my community.
I know. I would let you guys pick it if you wanted to.
I have a lot of these conversations because like my queen, shout out to her, you know what I mean? She's the complete opposite of this.
Yeah.
Like she's really, I'm protesting. She literally works in like social justice, you know what I mean? This is her whole, everything that she thinks about. And it is like, it's interesting to see because there are young people that are involved, but it simply just isn't enough of us. And like, I don't know why there's nothing in me that is like really fired up about it because like I do want to change and like actively like participate in making the world a better place. Like I don't want to get success and money and fame just for miles.
Yeah.
Like to accumulate all this stuff. Like I do care about the Black community, all that shit, but I just really do kind of have the mentality that like none of this shit matters without resources. And you need to accumulate resources and then have like the right mindset about how to utilize them and how to activate them and where to put the money.
Yeah, I think most of our time should still be spent on building this brand and becoming successful. But I think we have 4 hours a month, not only for the people that we could help, but for ourselves. I think doing community work is extremely valuable to a person. It's something that I've lost since graduating, where I learned so much about myself, my community, and what I value from volunteering, whether it be at like a wetlands or at like a soup kitchen. You know what I mean? Like you can think about it selfishly. It's great for you to do that kind of stuff. And I think
like you help people.
I think we should. It doesn't need to be political at all. Protest, none of that. But I think we could pick a charity that we could spend a couple hours a month and invite our viewers to come volunteer with us.
I mean, I would just love it to be music related though. You know what I mean? Or at least education related, where it's like, because I really feel like, how do I say this? I really feel like I want to help in education somehow.
Yeah.
But I want it to be not necessarily music related, but the only thing I'm really passionate about right now when it comes to like maybe like volunteering and making a difference is helping people understand that there's more options than just like the one. Because I feel like when I was coming up, you know what I mean? Like I had interests and passions that just weren't, like everybody was saying I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? And I'm more interested in contributing to that kid that like may want to work in music or may want to work in entertainment or shit, maybe they want to be a sculptor. You know what I'm saying? But like they don't know that that's an option for
It's
them.
very interesting because that's literally like what Selena works in. You know what I mean? She's working specifically in education and just helping out like the underserved communities here. And it is very interesting to see like the difference in resources that different communities as a whole are getting as opposed to other ones, the types of schools that the government is actually putting funding into, putting time into, why they're pulling resources, what they're taking out of schools now, what they're no longer teaching kids, you know? Yeah, education is, I think, one of the best ways to start with this shit because you want people to at least have the knowledge to go and make something of themselves and go and accumulate these resources and get this money so they can then be agents of change and whatever. But there is no but, you know, just have to go do it. I guess, you know.
We should do it.
Make the time, do the things, all the stuff.
Yeah. It's overall, my bad. I know we're on tariffs still, but it's overall very difficult to shift the whole government. Like you go into not you, but like someone going to one protest or even a multitude of protests is not going to shift the way that the government is moving, right? But what you can do is you can be an agent of change in your community, and eventually as you build up like your own name and your own like following or your own community, you can start to put people in positions of power that represent what you value.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm like, I would rather do that. I get that I'm not going to pop out to a protest, but if there's a speaking engagement at a high school or something, and like niggas would like to have a professional actually talk, you know what I mean? I would rather do that. Not to say it's right again. I'm just saying what my mentality is with this shit.
Yeah, I just think that I know we are all leaders, but I don't think it's realistic for us to think that we need to lead in everything we do. There are situations where it's okay for us to be followers and community members rather than leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think any of us are so knowledgeable about politics or about reform where we need to be looking at this like, oh, we need to lead and we need to pick the new leaders and we need to do all this. Sometimes it's okay to just be a community member and follow someone. I think we should do more of that.
I feel you with that, but I'm saying when I say picking a leader, I think when he's talking about is like putting another young bull in a position to go and become something of themselves, not in terms of like what's it called, like politics or anything like that, but just go be like, yo, there's more opportunities outside of maybe what you think is like available to you right now.
Yeah.
In the workforce more so than like.
I hear that that's what you guys are passionate about, but there are also so many other avenues that need us. You know what I'm saying? Like that's important too. But I think it's important to look outside of a situation you might have felt yourself in because there are so many people that need help.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You're 100% right. You're 100% right.